From the heart of Old Town. Community radio for the London Borough of Croydon.
Using basic radio principles.
This is Croydon Radio.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Croydon Arts Show here on Croydon Radio. And we have an packed show today. First up we have Michael Round, who'll be talking about his new book, and later on in the show we'll be talking to Paul McDonald from Inner Spectrum. So first up we have Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Hello. And so you've written your new book, The Bird of Time.
Yes.
And it's all about your experience in national service.
That's right. Well, it wasn't quite national service. I signed on as a regular. You may know that in those days, that's 50 years ago, every boy had to go into the armed forces at the age of 18. It was compulsory. But you could avoid it in a curious way by becoming a regular soldier, which is what I did. And I spent about almost 5 years in the army.
Ah, right, okay, yes. So I obviously misunderstood that bit. Yes, so you didn't have to wait to be called up. You could sign up yourself.
Well, you had to wait until your time was due. You had to register.
Right.
And then you were interviewed and you were given options. And it was pointed out that if you went in as a national serviceman, you got 27 shillings a week, which was about £1.35 a week. Mm-hmm. But as a regular, you got £2.50.
Ah, well, it seems like a no-brainer, really, doesn't it?
And then about 6 months later, that was doubled. There was a big pay rise for regular soldiers.
Wow.
So it was well worthwhile.
No, absolutely. And were you given more choice about what area you would go into?
Yes, if you were a national serviceman, you went automatically into your nearest infantry regiment in principle, did your basic training, and then you could, if they had room, choose which corps or regiment you went into. But as a regular, you could choose from the beginning. And in my case, it was the intelligence corps, which you couldn't get in unless you went in as a regular.
I see, right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so you wanted to be a soldier from an early age?
Yes, I always wanted to be either a teacher or a soldier. And there was no option about being a soldier at some point. So that was the first thing that I tried. And then actually I bought myself out after 4 years, or just over 4 years, to go into training college to be a teacher. There seemed to be more possibilities.
Okay, so that's the period that this book covers?
The period covers just the army.
Just the army. Yeah.
There's a first chapter about when I was a kid, just at the end of the Second World War, when we were in a kind of a street gang fighting another street gang, which was sort of the start towards militarism, if you like. And then I jumped to being 18 and then going into the army.
Okay, yeah, very fascinating stuff. And so the book is letters home to your mum?
What happened, I wrote to my mother regularly, and at the end there was something in the order of 140 letters, which she kept, fortunately. Several of them ran to 7 and 8 pages, but I'm talking about serious pages with maybe 200 or 300 words per page, all neatly written in ink with a fountain pen, such as you don't get these days. It amounted to about 140,000 words. And then last summer, I sat down and rediscovered them and began to write based on those letters. And in 6 weeks, it produced the book. Quite incredible, really.
Wow, yeah. And as you were working in the intelligence corps, did your letters get bits chopped out of them?
No, they didn't, but you had to be careful what you said. We weren't doing anything really dramatically serious, and when there was something serious going on, like the Suez operation, when half the Navy and the Army invaded Egypt, then you had to be very careful what you said, because you were observing which troops were passing through.
Yeah. Okay, so what sort of things did you tell your mother in your letters?
Well, I told her about the insects, about the birds, about the boats, about the people, and of course about the things that were going wrong with the army, in my view anyway.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate because I spent a lot of time on boats, we were at the port of Famagusta, and our security work was based around the interface between land and sea. So I spent a lot of time actually at sea, intercepting boats and so on and so forth. That was tremendous fun.
Yeah, great. Okay, and it was an interesting period in time, wasn't it? There was things that we don't really know so much about now.
It's all forgotten now.
Yeah.
In fact, the book is almost subtitled "A Forgotten Little War," which was the trouble when the Cypriots were trying to get independence. Mm-hmm. But in the background, there was the Hungarian uprising and nearly a world war in Europe. There was the Suez operation. Aden was a great problem at that time. We owned it at the time. Kenya with the Mau Mau, the Malaysian emergency, Jordan in revolution, Israel being attacked by Egypt and so on. It was constant warfare. The army at that time was close to 1 million strong. So compared with today, you can see it's quite a different circumstance altogether.
Yes, absolutely. And that million included the people who'd been conscripted.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It was a conscript army. The amount of regulars in it was quite light. And of course, most of the officers, the senior ones anyway, had all been in the Second World Wars. It was only over 10 years before.
Yes, yeah. We always think the war ended in 1945, wasn't it? But obviously, there were spin-offs. Hostilities continued.
All sorts of difficulties. It was, if you like, the first Arab awakening when they were all trying to get independence. Jordan, we had control of Jordan, Aden, Egypt, Libya, Tunisia. They were all under the British flag.
Yes.
And they were being given independence, and of course then troubles were beginning, even in those days.
In those days, yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
change.
A young Colonel Gaddafi took over during my time.
Gosh, yes. Yeah, we wouldn't know how that turned out. So yeah,
exactly.
Indeed. Okay. So I noticed your book. It says Michael Rommel Round. Was that your nickname?
It was a nickname that went back to my school times, and I most of my books that I've already produced go on the Michael Round. But I thought because everybody who knew me in the army called me Rommel as a nickname, and so did the people at college and at school, I left it in. How it came about, well, you ought really to read the book.
Indeed, we will. Okay, so from there you went on to teach?
Yes, having decided to come out of the army, there were all sorts of little complications why that actually happened. I went into training for teaching, went to a place called St Paul's College in Cheltenham, which is one of the best colleges available. I got in at the very, very end. And then I taught in my hometown of West Bromwich in primary schools for a couple of years. Then I transferred to the ILEA, as it was then, the London schools, taught in Stockwell, and Brixton for about 8 or 10 years. And then very rapidly, for most people, within 10 years, I was the head of Haling Manor High School in Croydon.
Oh, well, I've got one of your ex-pupils has written into the shout box
as
we speak.
Right.
This is Tracey, who is one of the people that runs Croydon Radio, Tracey Rabbit. She says... I recognise that voice. Good afternoon, Mr. Rowland.
Good afternoon, Tracey. I recognise that name.
Yes, absolutely. Great. Well, that's good to hear some of your pupils are listening in. Mm-hmm. So you were there for 21
years, I think, was the full whack. And it was a most enjoyable 20 years. I mean, there were moments when it wasn't too enjoyable, but the kids were fabulous. We were the bottom of the pecking order, but those kids, they've got onto all sorts of things. I've got army officers, I've got ranch owners in America, heads of computer organisations. I mean, the people who run this place are ex-Haling Manor, doctors, nurses, all manner. And we were dismissed, but they were very good. It was, I think, above all, a happy school.
Yeah. That's good. And you've decided to stay in Croydon after retiring?
Yes, I lived in Sutton, then came across to Croydon shortly after being appointed, and we just stayed here. This is my town now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so lots has happened in Croydon in the past few years. It's definitely, the art's becoming much more prevalent.
Well, that's right. I mean, I can remember when it was quite possible to go to the West End and drive all the way to South Croydon through Croydon High Street, and it was in a way kind of big and ordinary. But now it's become really a very sophisticated and cultured town. I wouldn't be anywhere else, to be perfectly frank. I was going to say we need a river. Well, we've got one with the Wandle, but a bigger river would be nice.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
But it's a great place to be. Great place.
Yes, we have the Ambition Festival going on this weekend as well.
Yes.
So, lots of great stuff. Oh, hold on. Tracey's left another message. Just a second. Yes, her maiden name was Peckham.
Yes.
Tracey Peckham.
Yes, I remember that.
Her? Yeah.
But there was something about Tracy Rabbit. I think I may have seen her on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yes, that's right. She said she's your friend on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you recognise her
yes,
from that. Yeah.
I've got, for somebody of my ancient years, I've got several hundred people on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd follow me. They just picked me up as I went along.
Yeah, well, obviously you have fond memories of their school days, I'm sure. Okay. Well, look, why don't we play one of your requests?
Yes.
You've a couple of music requests. This first one is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, the first movement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, first movement. And Michael, can you tell us a bit about why you chose that?
Yes, there's a reason for that. When I was a small boy in the Second World War, being bombed by the Germans, we had a propaganda campaign, and we conceived of the idea of using the Morse code for the letter V, which is da-da-da-da. Now, it just so happens that the opening of Beethoven's Fifth begins with da-da-da-da. Now, what a clever thing to throw back at the Germans their Germanic hero and saying that his music also shows V for victory.
Indeed.
It's also a V sign and Churchill's sign. It all fitted together very neatly. And I've always remembered that.
Yes, I wonder if they appreciated the irony of that.
I imagine they did, because we told them, just in case they were too thick to understand.
Super. Okay, so you're a headmaster for many years. And what do you think about education today in the UK?
Well, what worries me is that in the end, education is an adult in a classroom with a group of kids, and education is taking place. And for some decades now, we've had government interference saying what should and should not be taught. Nice idea, but it takes out a great deal of spontaneity from teaching. And the other thing that worries me terribly is the notion that an academy school, as if by magic, can get things right. Now, to give you an idea, the amount of money I had to spend on Haling Manor when I left it was about £200,000 a year. And recently, when the school was turned into an academy, a very good academy, I'm sure, they threw 25 million at it. Now, I could have made the school better with 25 million. So there's nothing special about the academies. It's just that they throw a great deal of money against it. And I predict, with the passage of time, you'll have failing academies.
Oh, I'm sure. We're hearing about a few already, aren't we? That they are, and it makes you wonder why some of these people are running them. It seems to be like an ego trip for some people.
It's not just that. I think they have a kind of a factory approach to it, an industrial approach to it. That's not what education is. Education is making kids do what they can do best and give them the opportunity to really grow up and be adults and, if you like, perform. And I think that's what we did in the old days with Haling Manor. They're all out there succeeding.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that strikes me, I mean, I don't have children myself, but I remember my own school days, and I went to a comprehensive type school in East London, and we had large classes then, and classes don't seem to get any smaller, but in the public schools, they have small classes.
Yes,
surely
right.
that is the way to educate children.
Well, I think
better.
they're giving priority to what really matters, which is that adult in a room with a group of children. And keep the reasonable group size, 15, something like that. That's when education can really, really thrive.
Yeah, and you'd think with all those millions, that's what they could achieve.
You'd have thought so.
Yeah, it's really sad. Well, let's hope that things like that change. I think things go round, don't they? And at some point,
They do indeed.
They
do indeed.
Yes. Anyway, back to the book and Croydon Writers Group. How did you get involved with them?
Well, I just noticed that there was a writers group in Croydon. Now, this group is very interesting because it's just had its 70th anniversary. It was founded in 1945, 3 or 4 months after the end of the Second World War. And it's been existing ever since then. It's quite small these days, but there's a good wide range of people within the group, ranging from a most venerable lady who in her 90s who's written 100 books, down to one of our most recent recruits, a 19-year-old, who is potentially a prolific writer, writes superb stuff, called Murat Kurt, who used to go to Edenham School and is now going to university, hopefully, and everything in between. And the objective is just simply to write and enjoy writing.
Super. And you meet regularly?
Yes, we meet, and anybody can come along if they want to join. The second Monday of every month, but not in August. We also meet on the last Thursday of every month at Waterstones in Croydon, between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Again, people are very welcome to come along, bring their work, discuss what to do next with their writing, or even join the group.
Super. Okay, that's nice. Is that downstairs in Waterstones?
Upstairs.
Upstairs in
Yes.
Waterstones. Okay, excellent. Good. And let's see. They've got a website which is croydonwriters.org.uk.
That's right.
So people can look at it
That's right.
there. And you've published your book on your own company.
In my own company. And the website for that is www.rainbowvalleybooks.com.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I've got 10 books published at the moment. I think 3 of them, maybe 4 are mine. The rest I've done for other people. And they're all the same kind of format, good quality material. And they're all still available. They're also available on Amazon, but it's cheaper to get it direct from me, of course.
Indeed, yeah.
And more profitable for me.
Yes, and it's Croydon as well.
Yes,
so,
and it's indeed it's all Croydon.
Yeah, smashing.
Yes.
And you said the cover art was by one of your...
Yes, that's Sandra Worrell, who was an ex-pupil. Can't quite remember how I rediscovered her, but she's an industrial scale graphic artist, and she does all the designs for me. I give her an idea or just a colour and some illustrations to put in, and she just simply works it to these wonderful covers.
Yes, it's very nice indeed. Okay, and so what are you planning next?
Well, I've got a book at the moment I'm working up for one of my other authors, Peter Cameron, who produced a book last year. I've got the second anthology for Croydon writers on the stocks, and I've got the third book in a trilogy written by me, set in ancient Egypt. I hope to have all of them finished by this time next year.
Super. Well, I'm sure you'll come on the show and
gladly,
tell us.
if you have me.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. It's been fun hearing all about things that you've been doing. So, yeah, excellent. So, we're going to play out with another track that you've chosen.
Yes, this is the very terrible lament from Dido. This was played at the funeral of the Queen Mother on pipes, and it's the most moving, saddest thing ever. And of course, it's a plea to everybody to remember me.
Oh, indeed. Well, I'm sure all of your former army comrades and your former pupils will remember you very well.
That's very gracious.
And yes, I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, Michael.
Bye.